Hello, founders. Welcome to another pitch deck critique and review. And this one is a special one, and I mean it because we are going to show you a before and after. Before and after, because I'd originally done a critique and review, sent it to this founder of MoneyFest, and it came back, and I have to say it is so improved. It is literally a night and day difference, and I'm going to show you the difference because I think this is something that we can all learn from. This is a pre-seed deck, although I think it's possible we could get this to a seed, but we're asking for pre-seed money because it's $500K, and as you can also see, it is in a Fintech space, which is definitely very hot, especially in developing countries. However, it is very saturated, so we're going to look for things that make this very different. Before we continue, my name is Ed Kang, seven-time funded founder with 2 exits. That's just a fancy way of saying I failed a bunch of times to your benefit, because I like to use videos like this to help founders, especially if you are pre-seed or seed stage, early stage, and you are trying to raise money. I want you to avoid a lot of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes, but hopefully I can minimize the damage. If you're a founder out there and you want a pitch deck critique and review of your very own, please stay until the end of the video. I've got very special instructions that I need you to follow because of the volume requests that are coming in. And while you're there, please like, comment, subscribe. Your encouragement is always appreciated. And special thanks to this founder for putting in the work, not just to send me the first pitch deck, which I obviously roasted, also sending me the second one, which was vastly improved, which shows that you took what I said and you integrated it, and I think you have a bright future ahead. All right, let's dive into this one. As I said, I'm going to show you the before and after. So this is the before, and we've got a subheading here, helping entrepreneurs achieve financial freedom by automating capital allocation. I liked how straightforward this is. I'm not so big on achieving financial freedom because that's an esoteric, fluffy, buzzy word, but let's look at it, especially how it has improved. Here's the problem slide, and I'm going to get through this as fast as possible because I want you to see how it's improved. But right away, way too much text. Every business lives and dies by its ability to allocate capital effectively. Now we are going into just some generic abstract terms. We're starting to get into commercial, customer-centric territory. Are we talking to the investor? Are we talking to the customer here? All right, let's move on. Most young, ambitious individuals have a hard time allocating their capital effectively while on the path to financial freedom. Once again, this is a generic statement. You're saying most ambitious individuals have a hard time. How many is that? Capital effectively, where, etc. And then we've got this picture down here, I'm going to point this out, branded alcoholic cocktail from MoneyFest co-founder's previous business. Doesn't really mean anything whatsoever. You haven't said any context. And then we've got a story of failure here, and I appreciate that the founder has a personal story and connection, but I don't need to see it on the problem statement. Next is a slide that says sort of, this is the state of affairs. I'm going to say this is another problem statement. And as you can see, okay, that's fine. You're talking about all the different ways everybody's trying to solve the problem, but all this, way too busy. I'm not going to spend time reading it. Now we go to the solution. What if there was a way for your capital to automatically allocate itself based on the rules you set? Right away, you are talking to the customer. This is not the investor. I don't need help with allocating my capital. You don't have to ask this hypothetical statement of me. On top of which, you have, what if you could ask for financial advice and receive responses that understand where you are financially and advise you based on that? Once again, I don't need financial advice. This does not apply to me. This is a promotion and advertising for the user. That's us. We solve capital allocation through 3 core innovations. You've lost me already by this point in time, but I can tell you again, wait for it. It's going to be vastly improved when I get there. Now we got the how big is the market really? This is a top-down analysis, which talks about global digital payments market. That is not your market. That is the total market for digital payments. Africa, once again, not your market. This is top-down. Financial automations market, not your market. So this is top-down. We need to go from bottom up. I keep saying this over and over again. This is one of the most common mistakes that I see in every pitch deck that's sent to me. It's a top-down analysis versus bottom-up. You have to go and research and understand how to do it properly. Now we're going to get to market positioning, and this is where I question these quadrants. Manual capital management, automated capital management. Yes, that's great. Savings-related features and spending-related features. That's great. But this doesn't make a lot of sense because you've got all the way over here, your company, but you've got Ethereum. Ethereum is not an app. Ethereum is not a direct competitor. I don't know these others, but most banks, that doesn't make a lot of sense for me. Most banks, how many banks? Exactly what? What about their apps? All those things. So this is not truly researched in terms of competitive placement, and your quadrants don't make a lot of sense, especially in relation to the competitors that you've listed here. I'm lost and confused, but that's okay because we're going to fix this. How do we make money? This is a pretty straightforward slide. You got how do we make money here, and you got customer acquisition cost, which is not how you make money. That's how you got your customers. Lifetime value, that's not how you make money. That's just a projection. And churn rate, that's not how you make money. That's a metric. But you've got how you make money over here. You're using transaction fees, check. In-app purchases, check. Premium subscriptions, check. All right, generally okay slide, except you want to take this information out here. Now we get to customer acquisition. There's way too much interested in here. You're basically repeating it. This is more of a methodology. This is a funnel that you've created, but you're actually not telling me how you're acquiring customers. You're not giving me any tactics that you've automated. You're not putting them together in a cohesive format. This doesn't make a lot of sense. It's starting to get there. I like some of the ideas in here, but it doesn't make sense the way that it's presented. Now, here we are in your roadmap slide. I'm just going to take for granted that you know what your roadmap is. I don't need to know it. I'm not going to really get into this in detail. Now we come to your team slide, and this makes the same mistake that everybody usually makes when it comes to these slides. First, you'd love to have just a nice headline up at the top saying we've got combined experience, etc. But you look at this, you've got taught himself to code at 14. All right, I'm struggling with this one. Sold pizza door to door while perfecting his craft. I don't care. Previously senior software engineer working on bleeding edge automation tech for Roblox and Wikipedia. Those are big names, but exactly what you're doing there. Left job to pursue MoneyFest, currently creating content and building product. Okay, it doesn't matter to me. So if you are compelled to put in a life story, don't. I want bullet points that just say, this is my domain expertise, this is how I worked on the problem before, and this is what makes me impressive. Now you got this co-founder over here, graduated, 5 years working in tech. Same thing. I don't have exact details on what makes this co-founder, the CTO, so impressive. Such as you got before creating the first startup. Well, what startup was that? What happened to it? Now here's the big flag. You've got currently 3X founder freelancing for companies in Europe building MoneyFest. This tells me this is not a co-founder. This is a freelancer, because if this co-founder is working on 3 other companies and you're building MoneyFest at the same time, is this person going to be full-time? You're not explaining anything. You'd rather leave this out and say, all right, later on, you can explain to the investor, once we get the investment, this person is going to come in full time, but it's not telling me that you have the internal technical expertise right now. This is not good. Red flag, can't stress this enough, how we would question as soon as we saw this. Now we got the traction slide, which should just say traction right up at the top here. And then it says, so far, so good. Now we're getting to a bit of humor. You're going to see this through the rest of the deck. Not really a big fan of that technique, but you got $10,000 of traction in terms of value processed, 94 wallets, 40 users, 700 total transactions. This is great as far as traction is concerned, but again, I'd rather see it broken out. Instead of generic traction, give me some type of growth graph like this and explain how you got to $10,000. These are values for our private beta in 6 weeks, where we've been letting new customers from a waiting list, gathering feedback and improving product. Now, this is a great sentence, but it's so small, like you're apologizing. Why not put this sentence up top here and say something like, in the 8 weeks we did our beta, this is what we did, and we got feedback, and now we have 300 people on our waiting list, plus it's growing 10% week over week to get on and use the full version when we're ready to go. That would be a much better explanation and a way to share traction. Here's the ask slide. You're saying we need 500K. This is where we want to say we're raising X dollars to reach Y milestone in Z time frame. Breakdown of your funds, all that good stuff, that's fine. But what I really need to see is where you're trying to go with 500K in concrete numbers, and investor understands this roadmap. It's too generic, it's too esoteric, it's too way out there. We want to see concrete numbers in any ask slide. Oh, and one last thing. Don't do this. This is a no-no. You're trying to put humor in there. We are on track for a letter of no objection with the Central Bank of Kenya, partnership with a licensed payment service provider. This kind of sounds impressive. I don't even know what a no objection letter is. Central Bank of Kenya, that sounds impressive. Partnership and licensed payment service provider, I don't understand. Who is the licensed payment service provider? This could be super impressive if we didn't put it as an afterthought. It kind of makes me think you're hiding it. I don't know what's going on here. If this is legitimate, serious traction, make it very clear and upfront and put it in the traction part of your deck. And then you got your contact us slide. All right, that is the first deck before. Now I'm going to show you the after. And before I do, I just want to make one quick comment. Here at startups.com, this is what I learned from Will Schroeder, my colleague, and the pitch deck doctor, is that we can only help you get your decks to maybe an A-. And it's up to you to get your decks to an A+. And how do you do that? It's not through me. This is only my opinion on how I would do it. And you're going to see you get a lot of different advice from a lot of different advisors who claim to be experts, just like me, who can give you advice that might not necessarily fit fit, especially if you're in your region, your particular market, your type of investor that you'll be talking to. So what you want to do is show your investors, and feedback from them is how you get it to an A+ by refining it and practicing it. And you're going to hear common themes from investors on how to improve it, the questions that they normally ask, and you'll tweak it over and over again. By the end of it, you're going to have done 20 revisions for your deck anyway. So I can only get you pointed in the right direction and to that A- land, and you're going to take this to the A+. We're already very, very close with this one. Let's look at the after feedback version of MoneyFest. We are back. MoneyFest Finance. Here's the subheadline: a fintech helping African entrepreneurs understand, manage, and automate their finances. That makes a lot more sense. No more financial freedom, everything like that. So far, so good. Next to the problem statement. Now, this is very, very interesting because I like how clean this is, and I like the fact that you're getting feedback before you put a lot of work into it. But you could easily move this problem into a small section up here and say problem, and actually show a picture relevant to this slide. All right, just think about it. This might be a way to improve the deck, but this is vastly improved. More than 60 million entrepreneurs in the big 4 tech-forward countries in Africa lose 20 billion per year because they fail to allocate and manage their cash flow effectively, which is a slow and manual process today. I like the fact that we have 60 million entrepreneurs. This gets confusing. The big 4 tech-forward countries in Africa, just list the countries, or just say in Africa, lose 20 billion per year. That makes a lot of sense. They fail to allocate and manage cash flow effectively, which is slow and manual today. So if something's slow and manual, I'm expecting it to be fast and automated later, but at least we got the size, severity, and scope. Vastly improved problem statement. You remember in the first deck, we had stories of failed businesses, and we had all these kind of generic slogans or statements that were fluffy and they were talking to the customer. This is very straightforward from an investor's perspective. Next, how many entrepreneurs currently solve capital allocation? You could have actually integrated these 4 points into your previous slide. Let me show you what I mean. Notice how you say here on the problem slide, it's slow and manual. You could have put those bullet points, spreadsheets, multiple bank accounts, etc., right underneath there. You don't need 2 slides. You could have combined those 2 together. Now we're getting into the solution. I like how this is super small. MoneyFest is an app that provides entrepreneurs with advice on how to allocate their capital based on their goals and can automatically allocate capital on their behalf so they avoid budgeting mistakes. I like how it is consolidated and it's tighter, but it can get even tighter. You can say MoneyFest is an app that automatically allocates capital on behalf of entrepreneurs so they avoid budgeting mistakes and maybe gives extra advice. You see how you've already had these 2 statements. They're kind of saying the same thing. So just get right to it. MoneyFest is an app that automatically allocates capital to help entrepreneurs avoid budgeting mistakes. But like I said, much improved. How it works: entrepreneurs create their wallets, matching their financial responsibilities. Step 1. Step 2. Step 3, it's automated. MoneyFest tracks progress and provides personalized feedback. Step 4, really, really straightforward with some cool pictures in there to show us where we're going. I'd like to see some more screenshots of the app itself throughout this entire day. But overall, the fact that you've made it step 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can follow the story is much improved versus all the other things that you had in your previous deck. Market size, my previous complaint that it was top down. Let's see if it's bottom up. Value lost to cash flow management issues yearly. I'm seeing this is my TAM. So we've got 82% of businesses close. Okay. We got 360 million self-employed individuals in Africa, average GDP, okay, of 2,150. You still lost me. And then you get into Africa's big 4 yearly and then financial automations market. Now I'm going to give it to you one more time. The TAM is if you said the total number of customers that you have potentially in your market times what you think you are going to charge equals your TAM. That is as simple as it is. And you have to decide exactly how you're going to segment the market. So let's say this is all of Africa, and then you want to go into big 4. Well, this would be your SAM. So how many is in the big 4? This is what I want to know. How many entrepreneurs times price is your SAM? That's what it is. And then what you think SOM is what you're realistically going to make. Your SAM needs to be what you think your business model is best suited for, and that's where I'm going to push you even more. It might not be the big 4 as far as tech-forward countries. It might be a certain type of business or amount of transactions. E-commerce, segment, what makes sense, optimize to your business model and your strategy. This is still a top-down, although it's a nice top-down analysis, something that McKinsey consultant would put together. It's still top-down. I need it to be bottom-up. This is where you're going to get challenged by any professional investor. Bottom-up, please. Market positioning, competitor analysis. Now we've moved away from the magic quadrant to what I call the benefits matrix. And we've got the competitors up at the top, and we've got all these check marks across the board, and we've got MoneyFest. And this is where it's interesting, like, you're not going to put all check marks across the board. But credit loan facilities saying we're staying away from this. And then you got this explanation, available but not interest bearing. Someone is able to analyze this, and actually it shows me a lot more in terms of you're looking at the right competitors. I'm going to give you vastly improved marks for this. This is a good start for this slide. You need to get feedback from investors. Next is how we make money. Let's take a look at this. Transaction fees, straightforward. Premium subscriptions, straightforward. Yes, that is awesome. This is a great slide, straightforward. Go-to-market strategy. You say we're starting with Kenya, which is great, allows you to land your beachhead. That actually should be incorporated in your TAMSAM SOM. But you're saying step one, pretty much organic financial education. And I like this. We have 120 videos, 8,000 Instagram followers. And then we've got paid social media ads. And this is what we've been doing, experimenting. And then we're going to move into influencer markets. We have great working relationship with Kenyan financial influencers with a combined reach of 2 million local entrepreneurs. Yes, yes, yes. This is a much better go-to-market strategy. It shows me you thought it through, and there's a way that you can automate it for scale, because I know how many influencers there potentially could be. Good job on this slide. Roadmap, once again, I'm just going to take for granted you know your roadmap. I'm not going to look into your roadmap. Someone will actually do a technical audit, like an investor who brings in a technical person who might have technical expertise. But this is the interesting thing here, personalized finance AI agent. You want to be careful. This is something called AI washing. You just throw in AI for AI's sake. Just be prepared to be challenged on that. You could say something like, we are considering AI features in the future once we have all this data, something along those lines in terms of roadmap. Now we get the team slide, vastly improved, because it says previous senior engineer at Wikipedia. Remember, I was asking for details, and we showed what you've worked on. Senior engineer for roadblocks, and you showed what you worked on. Currently building a product with a freelancer, yes, and creating financial education content for MoneyFest. Much improved, yes, 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 good job. But you are going to have to be prepared that you need to understand that investors are going to want you to basically have a technical team in the future, and you can definitely go with freelancers for now, but get ready. You want technical people on your team slide eventually. Traction. We ran a 6-week private beta where we let 49 users in, waiting list of 132, allocated capital across 99 wallets, 1,279 transactions for 14,590. Notice how in the beginning it was just 10K. You got 14,590 in value processed. We are using this to gather feedback. We currently have 70 plus tickets based on customer feedback that we're working on. Fabulous. Great job. This is a fantastic start as far as data is concerned. It's just not designed properly. You're not laying this out. An investor, and I'm being picky here, is not going to read this wall of text. So figure out how to make some bubbles into boxes and make this slide super interesting, but you've got all the necessary information to make a great traction slide there. That's actually very impressive. Good job. Now here's the much improved Ask slide. Remember, I always say I need X funding to reach Y milestone in Z time. So X is 500K funding to improve the product, protect the IP, and acquire 50,000 customers milestone in the next 18 months. Fantastic. Good job. Use of funds, you've broken that down, but this is strong right here, and pretty much this is going to support. So if I believe in this, I'm just going to go read all this stuff over here and go check, check, check. A lot more detail here. Good job. Much improved. And then you have your obligatory contact us slide. That's it. What can I say? I think you've seen the great improvements. My kudos to this founder. Once again, I think you are 2 or 3 versions away. While you work on your traction, while you work on your product, you got a good story that's starting. I think it's good days ahead for you. Now, as promised, if you were that founder, you're looking for your own pitch deck critique and review, leave a comment. But you also need to be telling me what you are building. So you need to just explain to me in one sentence what you're building so that I can let you know if you should send me your pitch deck or not, because there are just certain pitch decks that I really can't work with. And I just want to be sure before you spend any more of your valuable time than you need to. For those of you still waiting, I appreciate your patience. Leave a comment and let this founder know what you think and encourage this founder. I think it really helps if we all work together. That's it for this one. I will see you in the next video.